How's it? It's foggy light in photography day. We're going to be talking about how to use foggy, misty environments to really bring out their unique personalities in photography. And I don't know about you, but I find it relatively simple to work with dramatic light. You know, golden hour, the very hard light that comes from the sky in the summer, doing all those kind of cool shadows that I love that sort of thing. But of course, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are moving into autumn, and with it comes a whole set of problems, but also opportunities to take some really kind of pretty cool, awesome photographs. And I wanted to share something with you today. There's a thing I've been doing in the TPE tribe recently. Every Monday, we do a deep dive into some of the tribe members' photographs. And this week, Michael posted this image asking, what else can I do with it? Because it's quite clearly a foggy day and all that kind of stuff. And I was saying to him that, the big issue with foggy day like this is that there's basically a whole bunch of nothing in the sky here. What's going on there? It lacks any sort of oomph, really. The fogginess isn't really enough to carry the photograph. We need something in here, like there's this fence. Maybe Michael could have made some more use of that fence, get down low, make something of it, a central idea. Because at the moment, all he's doing really is photographing the fog. And when you photograph the fog, there's nothing in it. So we need to find a way of bringing other elements into play that lean on the ideas that the fog is bringing. And if I think about the ideas that the fog brings, stillness is definitely one of them. Think about, when you're out there and it's a foggy day, everything is just flattened down. So stillness. So I don't really want energetic images, lots of dynamic, leading lines, all that kind of stuff. I just want the image to be still. I also think I'm not going to have like a massively over-the-top color palette either. There might be some space in there for little hits of color if it's used sympathetically. If I look at Todd Hido's photographs, Todd Hido does a lot of this. He does it really well when he walks around a suburb at night and it's misty, and then you find photographs like this. Look at this. There's this house, beautiful house there, just in the middle, and the fog isn't so much that it's dominating the whole scene, and everything is quite indistinct. So in this case, it's a light haze that gently dribbles atmosphere. It dusts the image with atmosphere. You can sort of see it here. And of course, that leads into all the stuff that we have here. There's the snow at the bottom. There's the trees. Do you remember I talked about stillness? Everything in this image leads towards that. The color palette, these muted blues. Look at the way just that light, the two lights in the middle of the frame. Everything else is very up and down, right? All the trees. Obviously, there's a little bit of angle on the house, but we kind of accept that. And the image is almost split in two. There's a single line. There's nothing that is really yelling at us. That's what I love about his photographs. It's just they bring in that sense of solitude, of quietness. Now, as you may know, I don't specifically take a lot of landscape photographs. It's not what interests me at the moment. But there was a period where I was quite taken with being in the landscape, and certainly being connected with that idea of solitude. That seems to run through my photographs a lot. And going back about, well, this is more than 10 years ago now, when we lived in a place called Elmswell. And it was one of those awesome winter's days. There was a thick, heavy fog that had come down. And I went out with my camera and I was finding scenes like this. Now, if you think back to Michael's photograph, the fog had nothing in it. It was the fog, and then there was a piece of ground. And there isn't a photograph there. I think even if we took away the fog, I don't see a photograph. With so many of these things, there still needs to be a photograph underneath all the atmosphere, the fog, the dramatic light. You can't just photograph that for the sake of photographing it. So what do you do instead? So here, there was a track that ran down all this way off to it. There's like a little farmhouse over here. And I thought, I love these trees, this avenue of trees. Right? So Michael Kenna does this kind of stuff. Henry Cartier-Bresson. I'm channeling these guys, pretending it's my own idea. But I thought, look at the way they disappear into the fog. And if we just have one that I'm close enough to it, so it starts to have some density that we can sort of see with it, and the rest sort of just disappear off into nothing. At least then there is a photograph underneath that. And we have this big open space at the top here, all this sky and this fog. And that negative space in the image makes it feel quiet. If we zoom in on this, I don't know if you can, well, we can't actually zoom in on this, but like if the picture was just that crop there, it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't have that sense of isolation, sense of quietness about it. So I mentioned Michael Kenna earlier, and I wanted just to show you some of his photographs because he uses foggy mistiness, I think brilliantly. And it's very much in the tradition of taking inspiration from Asian art, Japanese woodcuts and things of that nature. And look at this photograph. He's taken the haziness. Now, this isn't necessarily fog, but it's that early morning haziness. And look at this beautiful, I'll set this to red so we can actually see what I'm writing here. Right? Look at this beautiful mist that's coming up all over here. And it makes the background feel ethereal. It makes it feel delicate. Like just a stiff breeze would not just wipe away the mist, it would wipe away everything else. But he anchors the picture with this solid tree right there. I think the photograph needs that. It needs something just to stop it from blowing away. And I see this in a lot of his photographs. There's a photograph of a similar sort of scene. This beautiful, I tell you what, China, Japan, the Far East. There's something about those landscapes, isn't it? They are ethereal. I don't know what it is, but look again here. This density, the mist on the mountain in the background. So again, once again, it's delicate, but it needs this anchor, this piece of cliff with this tree, to give it a bit of visual balance, but also to hold it down, to nail it there, so it isn't just kind of floofiness. I love this idea. I really should spend more time looking at the work of the Japanese woodcut people, because people like Saul Leiter as well, who we looked at recently in a couple of years. He was drawing inspiration from these guys. I love all that kind of stuff. I love the way that the photographers whose work seems to just have another level to it bring inspiration, not just from photography, but from all over other different art forms and different cultures as well. I think especially in this day and age, we can't overlook the benefit of looking beyond this very narrow definition of who we should be inspired by. Who are the great photographers of the modern age who are pushing boundaries and stuff? No, we should be looking outside. painters, sculptors, people who smack microphones with their hands, all those kind of visual artists. Bring in rich inspiration. This is one of the beauties of the TPE tribe, that there are so many people who have joined, who share ideas, who share work that is from all over the world. It's not just a bunch of street photographers or a bunch of landscape photographers. It's people who bring their own unique perspectives into this melting pot, this mix. And I often use the word diversity because there's a huge amount of diversity in the TPE tribe. And the thing that I love, that it is so free of ego. Everybody is willing to chip in, to lean in and share advice. It's not a big ego contest. And that's part of this wonderful experience, that we have people who are willing to share their work, to say, hey, I need some help with this. And it's not just me doing the video calls. We do like little feedback bits. Like I said, every Monday we go have a deep dive in them, but it's other people as well. It's such a wonderful thing. If you're interested, go and check on the link in the description box below. Just, have a look. It's a free trial. Come join us. See what it's like. If you don't like it, that's cool. If you do like it, even better. But there's this fogginess in the photography. It's not just limited to landscapes. You can use it in any environment. You can use it in street photography. You could do what I did at the beginning of this video, which is literally just breathe on the lens. Back in the day, a little bit of soft focus, breathe on the lens. But do it in a practical sense, right? Don't just put like blur on and stuff like that in Photoshop. This is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about either using what it has, doing something practical. You could do all sorts of people used to put tights over the front of their lens, make a little hole in the middle, play around, see what happens. There's a photographer called Hiroshi Sugimoto, and he does some very interesting photographs in a whole bunch of things. It's very much like he is an art photographer and everything that sort of comes with that. I don't mind art photography because I quite like these pictures, but I do find often with like people like Hiroshi Sugimoto, their photographs are often wrapped up in a lot of art brouhaha. They just like it exposes the values of the thinking about. I can't even waffle about it. Now here, what he's done is, I think for all intents and purposes, is simply defocus the lens. I forget the phrase that he uses about like shooting to infinity, that you focus the lens to infinity, or you step down. This is all large format and stuff, but essentially he's just defocused the lens. That light now has made this softness to all this. Obviously it's coupled with the fact that it's defocused, but remember going back earlier when I said you still have to have a photograph underneath all of this kind of stuff. So here got the twin towers. I shouldn't have said that because now YouTube will get all a bit fussy about these things, but he's got there's still a strong image underneath that. There's something like this photograph. Same sort of idea. This is more about some shape and some form. But this is a building. This is I think it's an art gallery somewhere. And as by defocusing the lens, everything becomes hazy. So those shapes become something more. Now, I really like this kind of photography. It may not be your cup of tea, but I like this. It's an avenue that I could see my own work going down, because the basis of this image is very similar to the basis of what I shoot already. Now, as you are watching this video, as you're looking at your own photographs and you're thinking, okay, what do I have? Where's my basis? See if there are photographers out there who have a little bit of an overlap with you, but lean into this idea. If you are a street photographer, go looking for photographers whose work is a little bit more, and I hesitate to say experimental, but pushing the boundaries a little bit. Again, going into that Asian idea, there's a lot of Japanese street photographers who really go somewhere else with their work. And also people like Alexei Titarenko. His long exposures, those sea of people, there's a bit of atmosphere there. In your landscape photography, okay, you're a lot easier. Now you look at the Michael Kennas and you look at, the Todd Hidos and people like that, and see what they're doing. See if you can use that as we move forward. So going into the autumn, and if it is cloudy and grey and dreary, then don't say, the weather's rubbish, I'm not going to go out and take photographs. Go out there and think about what we've talked about, those unique qualities of this light, that there's a stillness. So make your images feel centered, feel calm. Lean into the mystery. Have things just a little bit indistinct, but always anchor the image. So there's something for that eye to grab on, something tangible for it to hold on to. Michael's photograph, the next time that he's out there, will have those elements in there because he's taken the leap to say, here's my picture, I'm struggling with it. And in that case, it's a relatively simple fix. You've got the ideas. You just need to put one or two more ingredients into the image. And then you end up with something like wicked and awesome. Anyway, thank you ever so much for watching. If you like Saul Leiter, go check out this video here because I like it too. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.